Picture this. You're standing in the drugstore aisle reaching for a razor because yours is getting dull. There are two options right next to each other on the shelf. Same brand, same number of blades, same exact technology. The only difference is the color. One is blue, one is pink, and the pink one costs $1.53 more. You grab the pink one without thinking because that's what you've always done. That's what's marketed to you. And honestly, you're running late and don't have time to stand there comparing prices on razors like some kind of coupon clipping maniac. But here's what I need you to understand about that moment, about that seemingly insignificant $1.53. That choice you just made, multiplied across every shampoo bottle, every deodorant stick, every shirt and pair of jeans, every dry cleaning bill, and every single product you've purchased since you were a baby in pink onesies, is quietly draining your bank account. And by the time you retire, that slow leak will have cost you over $80,000. That's not an exaggeration. That's not me being dramatic for views. That's the math, and today I'm going to show you exactly how they're getting away with it while you've been too busy living your life to notice. My name is Felicia, and I spend way too much time thinking about the invisible ways the financial system is designed to extract money from women while we're too busy working, taking care of families, and managing everything else to notice what's happening. If you've ever wondered why building wealth feels harder for women, or if you've ever suspected that you're paying more than the men in your life for basically the same stuff, I need you to hear me clearly right now. You're not paranoid. You're not imagining things. You're paying attention to something real. And I'm going to break down exactly what's happening, show you the receipts, and give you the tools to fight back because once you see these numbers, you cannot unsee them. And honestly, you shouldn't want to. Let me start with what the pink tax actually is, because a lot of people hear the term and assume we're talking about tampons. And yes, the tampon tax is part of it, but bless their hearts, the people who think that's the whole story are missing the bigger picture. The pink tax refers to the price discrimination that happens when companies charge more for products and services marketed to women than for nearly identical products marketed to men. It's called the pink tax because so many of these overpriced women's products literally come in pink packaging, as if we're supposed to pay extra for the privilege of a color. According to a landmark study by the New York City Department of Consumer Affairs called From Cradle to Cane, products marketed to women cost an average of 7% more than comparable products for men. 7% might not sound like much until you realize that tax applies to almost everything you buy, every day, for your entire life. We're talking about a systematic extraction of your money that starts the day you're born and doesn't stop until you die. Let me break down the categories because the scope of this is genuinely staggering. Personal care products like shampoo and body wash cost women 13% more on average. Razors and razor cartridges cost women 11% more. Hair care products cost women a staggering 48% more. You read that right. 48% more for shampoo that does the exact same thing as men's shampoo, which is clean your hair. Even children's toys marketed to girls cost 11% more than the same toys in different colors. The study found that women's products were priced higher 42% of the time, while men's products were priced higher only 18% of the time. This is not random pricing variation. This is not market forces finding equilibrium. This is systematic price discrimination that has been documented, studied, and allowed to continue because nobody with power has decided to stop it. But here's where they really get you, and this is the part that made me genuinely angry when I first did the math. The state of California estimated that women in their state were paying more than $2,300 per year in what they called the gender tax. That's nearly $200 every single month just for being a woman and buying products marketed to you. Adjusted for inflation and calculated over a lifetime, that adds up to over $188,000. Now, different studies calculate this differently depending on what categories they include, but even the most conservative estimates put the lifetime cost of the pink tax somewhere between $80,000 and $100,000. Let me say that again, because I need it to sink all the way into your bones. You are projected to pay $80,000 more than a man would pay for the same basic products and services over your lifetime. Not luxury items, not designer goods, basic necessities like soap, razors, and underwear. And here's the real kicker that makes this whole thing feel like a cruel joke. You're paying this premium while simultaneously earning less than men. According to the Economic Policy Institute's 2025 analysis, women are paid 18% less than men on average after controlling for education, age, and other factors. The gender pay gap has actually gotten worse for the second consecutive year, with median earnings for women working full-time essentially flat, while men's earnings increased by 3.7%. Black women face an even larger gap, earning only 69.6% of what white men earn. That's a gap of over $18,000 per year in lost earnings. Hispanic women face an even more devastating gap, earning only 65.3% of white men's wages. So we're earning less and paying more. The system is literally designed to extract our wealth from both directions. They pay us less on the income side and charge us more on the expense side. Do you see the trap now? It's not subtle once you actually look at it. Let me walk you through exactly where this money is going, because understanding the specific categories helps you see where you can actually fight back and reclaim your financial power. Personal care products are the most documented category of pink tax offenders, and the research keeps confirming the same patterns year after year. A 2024 study published in the International Journal of Women's Dermatology looked at topical minoxidil, the active ingredient in hair regrowth products, and found that women's versions cost approximately 20% more than men's versions for the exact same concentration of the exact same medication. Not a similar medication, not a comparable product, the exact same active ingredient in the exact same amount. The researchers noted that this price difference persists despite 7 years of supposed progress on addressing the pink tax. Companies are literally betting that women won't notice or won't care enough to switch to the men's version. A 2021 study of 176 razors found that women's 4-blade razors averaged $3.02 each, while men's 4-blade razors averaged only $1.94. That's a 56% markup for the same number of blades just because one is pink and one is blue. And I know what some people are thinking right now. Maybe women's razors are designed differently for shaving legs instead of faces. Maybe there's a real engineering reason for the price difference. But here's what the CEO of a major razor company admitted years ago. There's no functional difference between men's and women's razors except the color and the handle shape. The blades are identical. The technology is identical. But they charge more for the women's version because market research shows women will pay it. They're not meeting a need. They're exploiting a conditioning that started when you were a little girl and everything marketed to you came in pink. Hair care shows the most egregious markups, and this one hits particularly close to home for me because I know how much time and money Black women especially invest in our hair. The NYC Department of Consumer Affairs found that women pay 48% more for shampoo and conditioner that provides the same basic function as men's products. They looked at products like Alberto VO5 and found that the women's version costs significantly more than the men's version, despite being manufactured by the same company with the same basic ingredients. The only meaningful difference was the fragrance and the packaging. You're paying nearly 50% more for the privilege of smelling like coconut instead of ocean breeze. And when you factor in the unique costs that Black women face for protective styles, professional hair care, and specialized products, the gender tax on hair care alone can add up to thousands of dollars more than the average. But here's what really gets me, and this is the part that makes me want to flip over a table. It starts before you can even walk. The study found that girls' toys cost 11% more than boys' toys. Girls' bikes cost 6% more, and even helmets marketed to girls cost 13% more. Baby onesies marketed to girls cost anywhere from 4 to 13% more than those marketed to boys. So literally from the moment you exit the womb, you're paying the pink tax. Your parents are paying more for your clothing, your toys, your accessories, all because someone decided to make them pink instead of blue. We are conditioning girls from infancy to pay more for femininity. By the time they're adults, it doesn't even occur to them to question why the women's version costs more. It just feels normal because it's all they've ever known. And this continues through every stage of your life with no relief in sight. Adult women's clothing is harder to compare directly because styles differ, but when researchers controlled for similar items, they found consistent markups. A 2024 investigation by Fashion Magazine compared identical items across 30 mass-market clothing brands and found that 50% of women's t-shirts were priced higher than men's versions, with some brands charging up to $45 more for essentially the same shirt. Polo Ralph Lauren was one of the worst offenders, charging $115 for a women's t-shirt while the men's version was $69.50. Skims, a brand that markets primarily to women and launched menswear in 2023, also charged more for women's basics. And it gets worse. Even when the prices were the same, researchers found that women's versions often used cheaper fabric blends while men's versions got pure cotton. So we're paying the same or more for an inferior product. The audacity is genuinely breathtaking. Now let me tell you something about the service industry, because this is where the pink tax gets really insulting. A California study from 1994 found that 64% of dry cleaners charge more to launder a woman's white button-down shirt than a man's white button-down shirt, 27% more on average for the exact same service. When pressed, dry cleaners claimed women's shirts required special handling, but researchers found that the shirts were often the same size and fabric as men's shirts. The only difference was the label inside. This discovery led California to pass the Gender Tax Repeal Act of 1995, which prohibited businesses from charging different prices based on customer gender when the service requires the same time, cost, and skill. New York City passed similar legislation in 1998. But here's the problem that nobody wants to talk about. These laws only cover services, not products. And enforcement is spotty at best because who's really out there checking dry cleaning receipts? The fundamental economic reality is that companies have discovered they can charge women more because women will pay it, and there's no federal law stopping them. They've done the market research. They know that women are conditioned to buy products marketed to women. They know that the pink packaging and feminine branding creates a psychological association that justifies higher prices in consumers' minds. They know that most people don't stand in the drugstore comparing unit prices across gendered product lines, so they keep doing it because it's profitable and it's legal. The system is working exactly as designed, which means the only way to change it is to either change the system through legislation or to opt out by changing your purchasing behavior. I'm going to tell you how to do both. But the pink tax goes even deeper than consumer products. Let me talk about what I call the pink tariff, because this is where the government itself is charging women more. According to research highlighted by the U.S. International Trade Commission, tariffs on women's clothing average 16.7% compared to 13.6% for men's clothing. That 3.1% difference might seem small, but it adds up to roughly $2.7 billion more that women collectively pay in import duties every year. $2.7 billion. That's not companies making choices. That's federal trade policy literally taxing women more than men for the same category of goods. And if you're wondering why this happens, the answer is historical bias baked into the tariff code that nobody has bothered to fix, because fixing it would require someone in power to actually prioritize women's economic equality. Let me do some real math with you because I want you to feel this in your gut and remember it every time you reach for a product. Let's say you're a woman who spends the conservative average of $2,100 more per year due to the pink tax. That's $175 per month, which honestly seems low when you add up all the categories we've discussed. But let's be conservative. If you took that $2,100 every year starting at age 25 and invested it in a simple index fund averaging 7% annual returns by age 65, you would have approximately $500,000, $500,000. That's not the $80,000 you paid out of pocket. That's the opportunity cost, the compound growth you lost because that money went to corporate profits instead of your retirement account. This is the real cost of the pink tax that nobody talks about. And this is the part that keeps me up at night. The pink tax isn't just taking your money today. It's stealing your financial future. Every dollar that goes to overpriced pink razors and premium price shampoo is a dollar that isn't compounding in your investment account. Every year, the gap widens. Every decade, the damage multiplies. When you're 65 and trying to figure out how to pay for healthcare and housing on a retirement account that's smaller than it should be, part of the reason will be decades of paying the pink tax. That money didn't disappear. It just went to someone else's wealth instead of yours. And here's where things get really insidious for Black women specifically, because I refuse to talk about women's financial issues without talking about how race compounds everything. We're not just dealing with the pink tax. We're dealing with a compounding of financial burdens that the system never acknowledges and rarely measures. According to the Institute for Women's Policy Research, Black women working full-time earn only 66.5 cents for every dollar paid to white men. That's a wage gap of over $25,000 per year. When you're already earning significantly less, that extra $2,000 annually in pink tax hits your budget harder. It represents a larger percentage of your disposable income. And because of the wealth gap, because Black families have historically been denied the ability to build generational wealth through discriminatory housing policies and employment practices, that money is less likely to be recoverable from family support or inheritance. We're paying the same pink tax as white women while starting from a position of systemic economic disadvantage. The math compounds against us at every turn, and then people wonder why the racial wealth gap persists. But wait, there's more. As they say in those late-night commercials, let's talk about healthcare, because this is where the cost of being a woman really explodes beyond anything the pink tax on razors could prepare you for. According to Milliman's 2024 Retiree Health Cost Index, a 65-year-old woman retiring with original Medicare plus Medigap coverage can expect to spend approximately $320,000 on healthcare over her remaining lifetime. A man with the same coverage, $281,000. That's $39,000 more for women, largely because we live longer on average and therefore need more years of care. But also because women face higher healthcare costs at every stage of life, from reproductive care to the fact that women's pain is more likely to be dismissed, requiring more appointments to get proper treatment. Add in the fact that women typically have lower retirement savings due to the wage gap and career interruptions for caregiving, and you have a perfect storm of financial vulnerability. The Transamerica Center for Retirement Studies found that baby boomer women have saved a median of $101,000 for retirement, compared to $248,000 for boomer men. Women have less than half saved, face higher healthcare costs, and live longer. According to Fidelity's 2025 estimate, a 65-year-old individual may need approximately $172,500 in after-tax savings just to cover healthcare expenses in retirement. This is not sustainable math. This is a system designed for women to fail financially in their later years, and the pink tax is just one piece of that system. Now, before you sink into despair, let me tell you something important. The pink tax is not inevitable. It's a choice that companies make because they can get away with it, and it's a choice you can refuse to participate in. Here's how you fight back, because I don't believe in identifying problems without giving you solutions. First, compare unit prices religiously. Don't just look at the sticker price. Look at the price per ounce, per count, per unit. Many stores are required to display this information, and it often reveals that the men's version of a product is significantly cheaper per unit, even when the sticker prices look similar. Second, buy the men's version when the product is functionally identical. A razor is a razor. Shaving cream is shaving cream. Deodorant is deodorant. If the active ingredients are the same and the only difference is packaging and fragrance, buy whatever costs less. Your armpits don't know the difference between Sport Fresh and Powder Fresh, I promise you. Third, consider unisex or generic alternatives. Many drugstore brands and house brands offer unisex products at lower prices than either gendered option. Target's Up and Up brand, Costco's Kirkland brand, and similar store brands often provide excellent quality without the gender markup. Fourth, do the annual audit. Once a year, go through your recurring purchases and calculate what you're paying versus what the men's alternative costs. You might be shocked at how much you can save by switching a few products. Fifth, vote with your wallet and your actual vote. Support companies that have committed to gender-neutral pricing and support legislators who are working to expand pink tax bans. Several states have laws prohibiting gender-based pricing for services, but we need federal legislation to address product pricing and tariffs. Call your representatives and tell them the pink tax matters to you. 6. And this is the part that actually builds your wealth. Invest the difference. When you save $5 by buying the men's razor cartridges instead of the women's, don't just let that $5 disappear into general spending. Transfer it to your investment account. Set up an automatic transfer. Make the pink tax savings work for your future instead of vanishing into your monthly budget. Every dollar you redirect from the pink tax to your investment account is a dollar that starts compounding for your benefit instead of someone else's. This is how you turn a system designed to extract your wealth into a system that builds it. Let me tell you about something I did a few years ago that changed my perspective completely. I went through my bathroom, my closet, and my regular purchases with a spreadsheet, and yes, I know that sounds tedious, but stay with me. I compared every gendered product I was buying to its men's or unisex equivalent. The results were genuinely shocking. I was paying over $30 more per month just in toiletries and personal care products for no reason other than habit and marketing. That's $360 per year. That was walking out of my bank account for pink packaging. I switched about half my products to men's or unisex versions, the ones where I genuinely couldn't tell a difference, and I've been investing that savings ever since. It's not about deprivation. I still buy products I love. I still splurge on things that genuinely work better for me. But I stopped automatically paying more just because something was marketed to women. That unconscious tax is no longer coming out of my future. Here's the psychological trap that makes the pink tax so effective, and this is where I need you to really hear me. We've been conditioned since childhood to believe that products made for women are somehow specially formulated for our unique needs. The marketing tells us that women's skin is different, women's hair is different, women need gentler formulas and special ingredients, and sometimes that's genuinely true. There are products where formulation really matters and where women's versions are designed for real biological differences. But most of the time, it's marketing. Pure profit-driven marketing designed to justify charging you more for the same thing. Breaking that conditioning takes conscious effort. It means standing in the drugstore aisle and actually reading labels instead of grabbing what's familiar. It means being willing to use a deodorant that says sport instead of one that says delicate blossoms. It means recognizing that the choices we make unconsciously are costing us a fortune. Let me bring this back to the bigger picture because the pink tax doesn't exist in isolation. It's one part of a larger system that extracts wealth from women at every opportunity and compounds disadvantage over a lifetime. We earn less for the same work. We pay more for the same products. We face higher healthcare costs. We live longer but retire with less savings. We're more likely to take time out of the workforce for caregiving, which impacts our Social Security benefits, our pension accrual, and our career advancement. We're more likely to be single parents stretching one income to cover a family's needs. We're more likely to be supporting aging parents while trying to build our own financial security. Every single one of these factors compounds the others in ways that are hard to separate but impossible to ignore. The wage gap means we have less money to absorb the pink tax. The pink tax means we have less money to invest. Less investment means less compound growth. Less compound growth means less retirement security. And less retirement security means more financial stress in our later years when healthcare costs are highest and earning potential is lowest. This is why I talk about these issues the way I do. This isn't just about razors and shampoo. This is about a systematic extraction of wealth from women that operates across every category of our financial lives. And the only way to fight a system is to understand it. You cannot protect yourself from a trap you can't see. So now you see it. Now you know that the pink tax is real, that it costs you tens of thousands of dollars directly and potentially hundreds of thousands in lost investment growth, and that it's designed to be invisible, so you never question it. Now you know that you have choices. You can keep paying the tax, unconsciously, automatically, forever. Or you can start examining every purchase, comparing every price, and investing every dollar you save from opting out of the pink tax trap. The information is in your hands now. What you do with it is up to you. I want to leave you with this thought. That $80,000 the pink tax is set to steal from you over your lifetime, that money belongs to you. It belongs in your investment account, compounding for decades. It belongs in your emergency fund, giving you financial security and peace of mind. It belongs in your retirement savings, buying you freedom in your later years. It does not belong in the pockets of corporations who have figured out that women will pay more for products that come in pink packaging. Every time you compare prices, every time you choose the cheaper equivalent, every time you invest the difference, you're taking back what's yours. You're refusing to participate in a system designed to keep you poorer than you should be. You're building the wealth that the pink tax was designed to steal from you. The math is clear. The trap is visible. The only question now is what you're going to do about it. I know what I'm doing. I'm investing every dollar I save by refusing to pay the pink premium. I'm building wealth in a system that tried to keep me broke. And I'm telling everyone who will listen that the pink tax is real, it's expensive, and it's optional. You don't have to keep paying it. So the next time you're standing in that drugstore aisle reaching for the pink razor that costs $1.53 more than the blue one, I want you to remember this conversation. I want you to think about that $80,000. I want you to think about that $500,000 in lost compound growth, and I want you to make a choice that serves your future, not their profits. Your wealth is waiting for you to claim it. Don't let a pink package stand in your way.